There's so much going on in the US at the moment. Joining us to discuss now is Miranda Devine, the columnist at the Daily Telegraph. So let's begin with Donald Trump, because his tour of India, very quick tour of India, has wrapped up. How do you think he went, Miranda, barring a few mispronunciations relating to the Indian cricket team?
Yes, that was pretty funny. But look, it was a huge success from the point of view of the relationship between the two countries. And of course, Prime Minister Modi is such a charming person. You know, they found there was a meeting of minds, a meeting of nationalists, I guess populists you could call them, and President Trump promising some good trade deals coming out of it as well. And there were, you know, hundreds of thousands of people lining the streets. So in that sense, it was hugely successful. And this morning, Donald Trump was very mellow. I think Modi must have had a kind of mellowing impact on him. He gave this press conference that went on for about 45 minutes, at which he said to everybody that, unlike normal, he was actually going to be very conservative and not say anything outrageous or controversial, because he didn't want to take away from what had been such a magnificent visit. But of course, you know, the travelling American reporters asked him questions that prompted various quite controversial things, and a couple of them, I mean, he said that 2 Supreme Court justices should recuse themselves, for instance, because they don't like Donald Trump. He thinks that they're suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, although he didn't quite say it that way.
No, look, the world seems to be preoccupied with the coronavirus at the moment, and rightly so, Miranda. Wall Street has not bounced back since yesterday, which can often be the trend, and so there are deepening concerns about what this might mean economically. But I think today in the US we've heard from the chief medical officer there, or essentially the umbrella health group, warning about what this might mean in the not too distant future.
Yes, look, the stock market tanked again. I think it dropped 1,000 points just on the news that the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, have announced that it's not if but when this virus epidemic spreads throughout America. There are only, I think, around 56, fewer than 60 anyway, people who've been affected by it so far. But they're saying, the CDC, just prepare. It's likely that you'll get it and that you need to start making preparations. And so, of course, what's going on in China anyway, basically in lockdown, has affected the world economy, and now in America there are fears that it's going to be a big problem. So that's a problem also for Donald Trump. One of his main you know, selling points for the upcoming election in November is to say that he's presided over a brilliant, flourishing economy and jobs growth and so on. And he's even, probably unwisely, taken credit for the rising Dow Jones. But now that it's tanking, and now that there may be you know, problems with the economy due to the coronavirus, he has to take responsibility for that as well. So you can see already Democrats, while Donald Trump's out of the country, are making hay and going out and posing as the great, you know, carers of the American population, and saying that the government's been incompetent in the way that it's dealt with the coronavirus thus far.
Miranda, on to Harvey Weinstein, convicted yesterday. I'm wondering where the Me Too movement is now, bearing in mind that he is going to appeal this decision, and there may well be more charges coming out of Los Angeles. So, but where is the movement as it is at the moment in the US? Because it seemed to go quiet for a while.
Yes, look, I think this is a big victory, because even though Harvey Weinstein only was convicted on 2 of the 5 charges, there was a growing expectation that the case in New York really was quite flimsy. But the jury found him guilty on 2 of those very serious charges. You know, he could face up to 30 years in jail, and he's in jail right now. And so I think that that's been a real fillip for the Me Too movement, and has shown that there's now the definition of rape and sexual assault and sexual harassment has changed, and that men like Harvey Weinstein, who spent his career abusing his power and you know, lording it over less powerful women, can no longer get away with it. So I think that's been a big win for women altogether, but also for this Me Too movement, which has sort of morphed into an anti-patriarchy movement. So whether or not that becomes more powerful and more punitive towards men, who knows? But at the moment, I think they're just relishing their win.
I think so. We'll wait to see what sentence awaits him, and we don't have too long to find out. That will be the 11th of March. Miranda, great to see you. Thanks so much for your time.
Great to see you.